So you are good to go, sir. Can you share your screen?
Okay, we have to start immediately.
Yes, sir. You can.
Okay.
Maybe Nikhil, go ahead with sir's introduction because we just started recording, right? So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So Mr. Siddharth Labhane sir will be joining us today, and he is the main speaker, and he will be talking about. He will be discussing about what is a Leni, stupa, and the subtle differences between Leni and a cave. And Sir Siddharth Labhane sir has done his bachelor's of technology in chemical engineering. After that, he did his MA in Pali. After that, he is an MPSC 1991 batch pass, after which he served as a director in Industrial Safety and Health Department under Government of Maharashtra. He has also presented research papers like Relevance of Buddha's Teaching in Industrial Safety, Bhopal Gas Tragedy and the Eightfold Path, Buddhism in Kolhapur and in Ancient Times, and Buddhism in Vidarbha. Thank you, Siddharth sir, for joining us today.
Okay. Thank you all and good morning. On this occasion of Jeshth Purnima, I convey my good wishes to all of you. So I'll start my presentation immediately. Okay. So can you see my screen, please?
Yes, sir. We can see the screen.
Okay. So let us come directly to the topic because I have been allotted only 45 minutes. So we'll go accordingly. And you can tell me in between whether I'm going faster or slower, or you want to give some suggestions. Definitely, those are welcome. You can tell me in between, right? So we'll be talking about Buddhist art and architecture, right? So mainly art and architecture covers two parts. Okay, so there are two types of this Buddhist art and architecture, that is rock cut and structural sites. Then we'll be discussing 4 places of veneration, and we'll express the gratitude because of whom we come to study this all Buddhist sites. So what is their role and how they have brought us this all Buddhist sites and art and architecture for our veneration. So whatever we are studying today, not as a technical part actually, but we'll see in the Dhamma concern, right? So when we talking about the Dhamma and walking on the path of the Buddha, so that time how it is related to our veneration and these Buddhist sites, how they are, those are important. That part we'll see, right? So there are two types, just I have said you. So rock cut and structural. So for example, if you think about the rock cut architecture, those are Kaneri caves, Leni, Karle, Vaje, Guntupalle. Guntupalle is the combination of rock cut as well as structural. So you will feel, I will show you the difference. What is the difference between the rock cut architecture and structural architecture? Okay, and structural, you come to the Sanchi Stupa, Nalasopara Stupa, Bhattiprolu, Amravati. I heard that you have studied South Indian architecture also. So that's why I mentioned the names of South India, that is Bhattiprolu and Amravati. So you will understand the difference between the two types of architecture. Okay. So what is Leni? Leni, when you are talking about the Leni, is a Lavanya. In Marathi, it is Lavanya. That is the beauty in the rocks. Okay. So Leni is the rock cut architecture. And Leni are not caves. Many times the word is used as a rock caves, that is Ajanta caves, Ellora caves, like that, Bedse caves. But we should not use the word caves, because caves are the natural cavities, you know. Whatever the formation of these cavities or the shelters inside the jungle or in the mountains, so those are caves. But here we are studying the art of the rock, that is Lavanya, that is the Leni. So this is the difference between Leni and the caves. So we should always say Leni only. So the Archaeological Survey of India talks about the census. So according to that, there are 1,500 Leni in India. Those are rock cut architectures, 1,500. And out of that, 1,200 Lenis are in Maharashtra. Why in Maharashtra, we'll later see. And out of 1,200, 1,000 Leni are Buddhist Lenis, right? So what is the reason? The reason is the basalt rock. That rock is very good for the rock cut sculptures. Best for architecture. It is lasting longer. The sculptures are lasting longer, right? So Chirang Titthatu Dhammo. What is the meaning? Chirang Titthatu Dhammo means let the Dhamma live longer or stay longer. That is the purpose of carving the architecture, Buddhist architecture in the rock. And hence, the getting the merits to the donor for a long time. As long as one is donating or creating the rock cut architecture, the person who is taking the advantage of that rock cut, that particular site, he will meditate there, he will consume water, he will have a veneration to the monks. Monks will stay there, and there will be a Dhamma discussion also. So whatever the merits earned out of that, that will reach to the donor. This is the concept of making the rock cut architecture by the donors, right? So where are the locations? Okay, so mainly on the trade routes, that is Vyapari Marga. Then the distance between the two rock cut architectures is about 30 to 40 kilometers. Why 30 to 40 kilometers? Because that time the traveling distance of a person in the conventional vehicles like bullock carts or manual walking, that was about in the range of 30 to 40 kilometers in a day. So that one person, when he's traveling all over the day, he can reach to the another Leni and have a shelter specifically for the traders, right? So, and then the location is at the height, not in the flat surface. You find any Leni not in the ground surface, but at the elevated level. Okay. And again, one criteria is there, that is the Leni is not too far or not too close from the town. Why? The reason is, if the town is very close to the Leni, the monks who are meditating there or reciting their study, Dhamma study, they will get disturbed. Number one. If the towns are far away, then what will happen? The monks has to go for the making alms round, right? Getting the food, pindapata. So it will be more inconvenient for them. The location, therefore, it is not too far, Nati Dura and Nati Santi. This is the criteria of the location of the Leni. These are 4 criteria, right? So in Maharashtra, if you see the map of the Maharashtra, the most of the dots lines, that blue dots are the locations of the Leni. So you will find all the Leni, maximum Leni in the left side towards the Sahyadri ranges. As we have earlier said, okay, Sahyadri ranges rock is good for the rock cut architecture. Okay, so this is the it's an enlarged picture. So see the left side. So this Junnar, then Lonavala, Pune, this Gandharpale, Shirwar, Loare, Satara, Chipurun, Karat. These all are having lot of Leni because of the quality of the rocks. And this entire lane is around the trade routes. So I earlier said that the traders used to travel on that route, and meanwhile they used to take the shelters of those Leni as well as listen the Dhamma, donate to the monks, and on the next morning they may proceed for their next journey. That was the basic concept. The same thing happens in the what you call in the South India. You have seen the South India structures also. So So if you look at the Hyderabad and just below portion is the Andhra Pradesh. So here you find n number of Buddhist architecture. That is, of course, structural architecture. These are not Leni, but what I am trying to say is the location is on the trade routes. These all are the Buddhist sites which are on trade routes. Now you will ask me, where is the trade route? Now, from the left corner here, there is a river, that is the Krishna River. So from the Krishna River is traveling, is moving from this site, from the Nagarjuna Konda. This 17 is Nagarjuna Konda, and these all sites passing and passing through all the sites, it goes to the ocean. So here it's very, very interesting that the trading was, or the transportation of goods was on the water surface. So this is again a very typical criteria of the location of the Buddhist sites. Now, who carved the Leni? The important question is, who carved the Leni? So there are three donors or carving persons. Those are king, the merchants, and the monks. The king, so you know, the King Ashoka has a patronage to the Buddhism, and he has ordered to carve the Lenis, and so many stupas, 84,000 stupas are world, and the relics were distributed accordingly. He has ordered to carve the most of the Buddhist site. Then the merchants, we are talking about the merchants. The merchants were traveling in that direction, in that trade routes. They used to donate a massive amount so that their stay will be protected, as well as they will listen the Dhamma from the monks. This was the purpose of donation from the merchants. And of course, the monks who were staying already there. So they used to get the donations, right? So those donations also were used for the construction and carving of the Leni further. So it was not a job of some 10 years or 20 years. Okay, this Leni has to be constructed, excavated or carved, and then it will be used. It used to go for the years of hundreds and hundreds of years. So because it is a very, very tough job, a very, very skillful job. So it took, even this Canary Leni of Mumbai took 700 years to construct total, right? So now, what are the features of the Leni? Okay, so when you see the Leni, what is to be seen there? So first is a Chaitya Ghara, then Vihara, then Stupa, then paintings. Paintings consist of episodes of the life of the Buddha, then Jataka stories also they have, then sculptures, symbols, animals, and Torana also. Torana means the big banner-like structure at the end of the entrance of the stupa gate. Just if you visit the Sanchi Stupana, you will find the 4 main gates on 4 sides, and the 4 above the gates there is a banner-like structure where the stories of the Buddha lives are carved. Those are called Torana. Then the names of the donors and even the images of the donors are there in the Leni. Then you find the inscriptions, you find the arch. That is a very, very typical arch of the Buddhist architecture. And most important is the water management. You know, water management is why it is important, because these monks were staying in the higher level, okay, on the little what you call mounts, or you can't say mountain, but some higher level, right? So the main criteria was how to preserve water for which can be used for the entire year. So there were three options there. That is rainwater harvesting, well, and river. If first 2 options were not there, then third option used to be there, that is river. Okay. Then now just we have seen the criteria now. So we'll go one by one, right? So first is the Chaitya Ghara. Okay. So Chaitya main architecture is the stupa. That stupa mainly represents the Buddha or Arhat. Either so mostly the stupa is Buddha only. So what is the purpose of Chaitya? So veneration to the Buddha means veneration to the stupa, meditation, recitation, and study, right? Then there has to be a Padakkhina Patha, circumambulation path. That is Padakkhina around the stupa. Then apsidal plan. Apsidal plans means going from one side and coming back from the other side in a U shape. That apsidal plan, I will show the picture later. Then pillars, you see, those are square pillars. Those are 8-angle pillars. There are 16-angle pillars, which go up to 64 edges. Okay. So the 64 edges pillar is almost a circle. And you know the quality, what must be the quality of that pillar? How much skill must have used by the artist to build up the 64 edges. So that is to be seen in the Chaitya Ghara. Then roof of the Chaitya Ghara is of two types, that is vaulted roof and flat roof. Then arch. Arch is a very typical structure. Then inscriptions and then polish art. These are the things which are in the Chaitya Ghara. Okay, see, this is the Chaitya Ghara. So you find here the stupa here. Then you find the pillars. These pillars are eight face pillars. Then there is a apsidal plan. Apsidal plans means the person is going from this side. Any person, 1 minute. Okay. The person enters, if there is a meditation going on and the monks are sitting and any upasaka is coming to venerate the stupa or venerate the Buddha, he will enter from the left side and he will take a circle and he will come back from the right side. The arrow is not coming, I don't know why. Okay, so arrow is this one. Okay, so here he will go. From here, he will go inside, and from the back side, he will come back without disturbing the meditators and the bhikkhus. Then we see the vaulted roof. Vaulted roof, there are two types of roof, I said. So this is the vaulted roof, and that is U shape, inverted U shape. And the roof has the ribs of wooden material. Then these wooden material ribs are also having the inscriptions. And 2,500 years, even after that, the inscription are still there. This wood is also there. This is the picture of Leni. So see the beauty of this Chaitya Ghara. And again, this is the arch. Now this arch, how the arch is taken in the Buddhist architecture. So when King Bimbisara donated the bamboo grove, that Veruvan to the Buddha, so that entire Veruvan was full of bamboos, right? So they have made the entry of all the entry like that, both the sides of bamboo joined together at the top. And that structure became this arch. So this is the finding of the scholars. So I accept that, but concretely, I have not found any written evidence about that. But that arch is definitely has a resemblance with that bamboo arch. So this has to be seen. Then we can see the circumambulance path here, and we see the stupa. Now we will see the stupa separately. Okay, this is again the vaulted roof, very beautiful vaulted roof with the wooden ribs. Okay, and this is the flat roof of Chaitya. Very small Chaitya Ghara with very small monastery. So in the when there is to be very less donations and very less responses from the what you call traders. So that time the flat roof Chaitya Ghara used to be constructed, right? And you see the condition of the stupa. We'll not say anything about it, but the condition is in front of you. So this is the picture of the Leni from the near Kolhapur area. Okay. So this is one of the Chaitya Ghara. This is the apsidal plan I'm talking about. So apsidal plans is always in the U shape form. So here, now this is constructed. This is not the rock cut. This is the constructed. We find it in the South India. So the person is going like this and he will take a round. Here is the stupa. Now you can't see it is broken now. And he will come back from the right side. He will come back. So this is the apsidal plan. Then Vihara. Generally, we are very much confused about the Vihara. So what is Vihara? So Vihara is the place of residence of the monk. Vihara, generally, we talk about the Buddha Vihara. Buddha Vihara word is not in a Pali literature, maybe noted, because Buddha Vihara is the what we call today that Buddha Vihara is in the city places. Why it is in the city places? Because for the recitation of the Buddha's teachings or the listening the Dhamma, we cannot go to the Leni because nobody is there. So what is the option of that? So we construct a monastery or a vihara within the township, and that township vihara is called a Buddha Vihara. But as long as Lenis are concerned, this vihara means the such type of residence place of the monk. So on the left side, you see the vihara in the rock cut. So here you find the veranda also, and these empty boxes are used to be filled with the wooden frames with the doors and windows frames, right? And on the right side, there is a vihara of the structural, that is the boxes again, that is made by the brickwork. Okay. So this is how the difference between the Vihara and Chaityagraha we have found, and the Buddha Vihara is the latest term, not in the Pali literature, that we must know. Now this is the stupa. When we go to the Vihara, Leni, we must know what is the stupa and what are those parts of the stupa. See, the stupa, the main foundation of the stupa is the medhi, that is the sila, that represents the sila. Then above that there is a rounded shape, that is the anda, that is the symbol of the samadhi. In between there is a vedika, it's a compound like structure. So that is called the design, that is the vedika. And above that there is a harmika that represents the prajna, that is the wisdom, supreme wisdom. And then above that there is a chhatra. That chhatra is upheld by yasti, that is the stick in between. So on whom we hold the chhatra? By the supreme person or a king. So this is how the entire structure is the representation of Buddha. And above the Buddha there is a chhatra. The chhatra is of two types. Either it is connected to the roof, or it is made here. It is constructed by by using the wooden frame, right? So this is chhatra. Here we can say in the constructed or structural stupa, this vedika we can see anda, we can see medhi, we can see this harmika, we can see the yasti and the chhatra also. The stupa at the Nagpur's Diksha Bhumina, it is a master example of the stupa of this kind. The entire structure is based on all the criteria. You will find there medhi, anda, harmika and chhatra. So that is the masterpiece. Okay, here the chhatra is stuck to the roof. So that I was telling you. In the earlier case, it was a wooden chhatra. Okay, so type of stupa. So in Dhammapad Athakatha 195, here the stupa and type of stupa are explained here. So that is referring to the Mahaparinibbana Sutta. So in Mahaparinibbana Sutta, Buddha has explained this. Chattaro Tuparahe. So what does to Chattaro Suparahe? So there are, he's telling about the, Buddha is telling about the 4 types of the stupa. That is, number 1 is the Saririka stupa, Uddesika stupa, then Paribhogika stupa, and Votiva stupa. So you must have understood by the name only. So what is Saririka stupa? So where the Buddha's relics are placed in the stupa, or the stupa is constructed on the Saririka of the Buddha or relics of the Buddha, those stupa are called the Saririka stupa. If you want to give example, you can give the example of the Sachi stupa. This constructed on the Saririka dhatu of the Buddha. Okay. Then comes to the Uddesika stupa. The name indicates the commemoration, Uddesika. So where the basic, what you call a very, very important episode has happened. So such places are, on such places, the Uddesika stupa is constructed, right? Then Paribhogika stupa. The Paribhogika word means the things or the articles used by the Buddha himself. For example, it may be chivar, it may be Bhiksha Patra, right? Begging bowl. So on that, if there is any stupa is constructed, that stupa is called the Paribhogika stupa. And apart from that, there are many stupas, just like Kaneri caves, Kaneri Lenis, Kaneri Lenis, then Bhaje Lenis, and so many other Lenis. There, the stupas are none of the above, but again, those are representing the Buddha. Those stupa are called the votive stupa. These are the 4 examples. We'll see one by one. Clearly. So we have given the example of votive stupa, Paribhogik stupa. You understood? Okay, Paribhogik stupa, I have not given the example. Nala Sopara stupa has been constructed on the begging bowl of the Buddha. So that is a Paribhogik stupa. Okay, so we must remember this. Okay, then comes the paintings. So paintings, so many paintings aspects are there in the Buddhist architecture. So if you go to Ajanta, you will find, go to the this Bhaje Leni. No, Bhaje Leni we don't have. This is Pitarkhora Leni. Then Bagh Leni. This middle picture is the Bagh Leni. So what we found in the paintings are basically the birth, renunciation, enlightenment, and Jataka stories are painted, and natural colors are used, and which are still beautiful after 2,500 years. Still those are beautiful, and still research is going on. What must be the composition of those colors and how they are painted? But still they are not able to get the exact source. What is the material they have used? Right side, you are seeing the Leni, no? That is Pitakura Leni. That picture on the right side is in a very, very bad shape now. I think it must have collapsed. We have visited this Leni before about 12 years. And so those beautiful pictures were still there. And the entire Leni was about to collapse. But though nobody was taking care of that, I think it has been lost so far. I think nothing is left there. Okay, so I feel very bad about it. Okay, then in Leni we find symbols. So we must know the symbols. So on the left side, this is the Tri Ratna symbol, right? This is the circle, that is the chakra, and there are 3 sticks here on the above. Those are Tri Ratna. So this is Tri Ratna symbol. This is bull. This represents the Pathamajhana of the Siddhartha Gautama, not the Buddha. When Buddha, then Siddhartha Gautama was a child of 7 years. That time he meditated in the farm. So that is the symbol. Then this bull represents that symbol because he was there in the farm, and there were a lot of these farmers and bulls were there. So this is the representation. And you find Torana, and you know Torana, so a lot of symbols are there. Elephant represents the birth of the Buddha. Horse represents the renunciation of the Buddha, right? Lion represents the Buddha's teachings, lions roars, Siha Garjana, right? So these are the symbols. Then a lot of Jatakas are carved on the Torana. So these are things to be seen in the Leni. Now, one of the criteria of Leni is the mentioning of the donors. So those donors, we have talk about the donors, they used to give their information in the form of their pictures also, images. On the left side now, you find the pair of this couple. He is one of the Shreshti, that is the king merchant of that area. He has donated this care. This is Kuda Leni, and these are the donors. And they have mentioned who are they, their family members, their son, daughter. Their names are inscribed on the right side of the wall, which is not in picture. We can see later in the different picture at the different Leni. Okay, see. So these are the inscriptions. So what is the importance of inscriptions? Let us see. The very, very precious thing we have in our Leni. So Leni are the mainly made by the donors. So what is saying in a left Leni? See, these are the language is Pali and the lipi is the Brahmi. You understood it, I think. So Denu Kakata Vaniya Gamasa Phabodanang. It is written in a very, very small and few letters. But see the beauty, the first line says the Denu Kakata means directly we are taken to the age of the that year of the when the Denu Kakata was there alive. Who was Denu Kakata? We should find. Then Vaniya Gamasa. Here we can identify the name of the town and what he has donated. Thabo Danang. So he has donated the Thabo, means the pillar. So this inscription is from the Karle Leni. You must have identified it. So from such a very few letters, you can understand the entire history. And again, this is the Pathar ki Lakir, right? So it is again forever, as far as possible, forever. So that is the importance of the inscription. We'll see another inscription. See, this is the Girnar. Sorry, it is not Girnar. It is Barabar Leni. So it is in Bihar, and it is supposed to be the earliest Leni donated by the King Asoka. So here it says that's Devanang Piya Piya Dasi Lajina. Will not go through the reading word by word. So he says the King Asoka says the Devanang Piya Piya Lajinang. Lajinang means Raja. So he says ki I am coming here. Dudas wasabi setani. So Ian Kuba, I am donating to the some person. Okay, not a Buddhist monk. They are Ajivika. So the name is destroyed by the antisocial elements, we can say. So what we can get from such letters, see. So name of the king, name of the donor, for what purpose it has been donated, to whom it has been donated, and when he has come. So we can understand the dating. So 12व्या वर्षाच्या नंतर, म्हणजे after the coronation of the 12 years. So he came here and he is donating this Leni to the Ajivika. So such a beautiful information is given in this inscription. Okay, now we'll directly give the example of Bhattiprolu Stupa in the South India. You have studied South India, therefore we can have a little look about the structural stupa. Here we find 3 cascades of the relics, and which are full of inscriptions. So what we get here, the detailed information of the donors and the original relics of the Buddha. And the inscription says that those are the relics of the Buddha, at who has donated it and why he has donated it. In this, all the information is mentioned in the inscriptions. On right side, you can see the inscription of the crystal hexagon. So this is what you call in a quartz, right? In other languages, it's called the quartz. It's very, very hard material. It's just like a glass. And you think that how it must be difficult to write on that, inscribe on that. And the entire this hexagonal crystal was inscribed with the teachings of the Buddha. And in the other inscriptions, the names of the donor and his family members were given in that inscriptions. So that is to be seen. So see the inscriptions importance. So we get the history, we get the dating, we get the name of the king, we can get the dynasty, we can get the name of the monk, school of Buddhism it was, we can get any place of name. So many things we can get from the inscription. It may be small or it may be big, that is a different issue. And thanks to the Britishers, they have preserved it. So I will give you the example how they have preserved it. We'll see later, but just I wanted to say. So Girnar Leni, they were near Girnar inscriptions. So they were constructing the roads, and the civil engineer came across the one stone. And while blasting the stone to make the road, he found something written on the stone. And he was so much curious about, and he was very much compassionate. This is something very precious. I should preserve it. They have not blasted the stone, and they have changed their path of the road, and the entire inscriptions were protected. And not only that, they have made the shelter on that. They have made the shelter on the rock. And pleased to say that those are the Ashokan inscriptions, 14 inscriptions, thanks to Britishers. So again, about this Leni. So arch and windows we can see. As we have said, this arch is the formation of the bamboo arch, taken from the bamboo arch. And here we see the window. This purpose of this window is such that the light coming from the window directly falls on the stupa, and the meditator sitting in front of the in front of the stupa will not get disturbed. So that is the purpose of this window within the arch. This window is now reconstructed. It was not like that. It must be something very beautiful. Okay, now polish art, a very beautiful aspect of the Buddhist architecture. The polish art, it is famous for the Mauryan art, that is called the Mauryan polish. On the left side, we can see it is just like a mirror. This is this polish of the Girnar Leni. You have seen the Girnar Leni? Okay, I will show you. Yes, this Girnar Leni on the left side you can see. So this is a complete granite stone, right? And the granite stone is very, very hard, very hard. And on that granite stone it was a polish, the polish was made, and that polish is still today, it's like that only. Just we can see the face. It is so beautiful. How hard work must have taken by the artist. On the right side, see the polish on the lion's capital. This is the original lion's capital. It is kept in the Museum of Sarnath. So see the polish, and this polish has been tried again and again afterwards. After Mauryan dynasty, it is lost. Okay, now the people and the artists are trying to get this polish again, but they are not successful. So that was the beauty, and that was the art of the Mauryan dynasty. Then water management, I have just told about that. Rainwater harvesting, how it is done. Then rivers and wells, that we will see one by one. So the rainwater harvesting is on the Lenis are in the two types, that is Kodhi and Podhi. So Kodhi means the water storage, rock cut water storage. Okay, and that water is used for the general washing purpose. That is called Kodhi, because there is no cover on it. It is called the Kodhi. And on the bottom side, you can see the water storage, which is called Podhi. It is for the drinking water. here the roof of the water storage has been broken. So it is easy to see that how it must be. And of course, these kodis and podis were donated, and then we find their names written in the nearby area of the Leni. See, this is one of the example of the rainwater harvesting. We see that at that time is 2,500 years before, how the rainwater harvesting was so beautiful. See the art. Okay. Now, if you see the example of Bhandara Leni, this is near the Lonavala, and it's a very beautiful Leni. The Santa Tukaram used to sit there and meditate. And here he found that this stupa he found. And this stupa he used to address as a, what you call, their Panduranga. So actually he was venerating Buddha. He was meditating in front of the Buddha, that is his stupa. And he used to address him as a Panduranga. That was his, was faith, I think. Okay. So, and that near that stupa, there is a well. That well is giving the water throughout the year. This Leni, and it is on the very elevated height. It is on the dongar. It's on the hill. And in the summer season, there is a water starvation in the village, which is on the ground level. Okay. And the villagers go here to get the water, to fetch the water from this well. See the beauty. Okay, so this is all about the Lenis and part of the Lenis, and the other part, that is Chatusomejanyani Thanani. This is also again a part of the veneration, a part of the Buddhist art and architecture. So if you think about the Mahaparinibban Sutta, most of us have already studied this Mahaparinibban Sutta. So when the Buddha declared, Ananda, now I will pass away, I will take a Parinibbana after 3 months. At that time, Ananda was very much, Venerable Ananda was very much in worry, and he was very sad. So he was shocked actually, he was crying. So he asked to the Buddha, Bante, ki after your passing away, where we should go? He says, ki Ananda, you don't worry. So there is a Dhamma. Of course, in my presence, Dhamma is already there. So yo Dhammang pasati, wo mamang pasati. Wo mamang jo, so mamang pasati, so Dhamma pasati. So he used to say, ki there is no other, no need of any, what you call, so Uttaradhikari. There is no need of having the Uttaradhikari. So my Dhamma is my Uttaradhikari. You have to follow the Dhamma, and you will get all the teachings, what I wanted to, what I have given to you, right? But again, Bante Anand asks him, okay, when we want to experience your presence, or we want to get the inspiration, then what we should do? So, Bhagavatopanamayan Bhante Achayen Nalabhisam Manobhavaniya Bhikkhu Dasanaya. How हम कैसे दर्शन लेंगे आपका? How will experience you? So there, the Buddha answers him, Agamissanti ko Ananda. What he says, oh Ananda, so these Saddha people, those who are having the faith in the Dhamma, in the Buddha, those people, those bhikkhu, bhikkhuniya, upasika, upasikayo, where he agamissanti, where they should go? They should go at the 4 places. Where? Idang Tathagato Jato. Here the Tathagata has born. Idang Tathagato Anuttarang Samma Sambodhi Abhisambuddho. Here Tathagata has attended the enlightenment. Okay. Then Idang Tathagatenang Anuttarang Dhammachakka Pavatitang. So here the Dhammachakka Pavatan has been done by the Buddha. And lastly, the 4th place is Idang Tathagato Anupadisesaya Dhamman Nibbana Dhatuya Parinibbuto. So these are the 4 places, Ananda, where the where the Upasaka, Upasika, Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuna must visit, and they will get certainly the inspiration. They will get the Samvejanani from these places. So, Yekechi Ananda, those who Ananda, Chetiya Charikam Ahindanta Pasana Chitta, how they move around these 4 places, Ahindanta Pasana Chitta, they should be very prasanna, very happy. And Kalankarisati, they pass the time, they move around. So Sabbete Sugati Labhisanti, they will find the emancipation. So these are the guidelines of the Buddha, and that is the reason we must go to these places to experience the Buddha's existence. So this has been told by the Buddha in Mahaparinibbana Sutta. The Mahaparinibbana Sutta is so beautiful. So many things are given here. In the Mahaparinibbana Sutta, one should definitely study this. So these are the 4 places. First is the Lumbini. This is second is the okay. We'll go one by one. This is Lumbini. Idang Tathagato Jato. And here there is a Ashokan pillar where the inscriptions are written, where the King Ashoka says, here the Tathagata has born, that Siddhartha has born, and because of that, because of this place, importance of this place, I am relaxing the tax on this villagers. Whatever tax I am exempting totally. So this is the place of veneration. This is the place called Lumbini. Ido Tathagato Jato. Then second place is Idang Tathagato Anuttaram Dhamma Samma Sambodhi Abhisambuddho. Here the Tathagata attended the enlightenment. So you can see the Bodhi tree. This is one of the place of veneration. The third is the Saranath, that is Ithang Tathagatena Anuttaram Dhammachakra Pavatitan. So here Tathagata has set the Dhammachakra in motion. And Buddha, when he was giving the Dhammachakra to those 5 sages, his 5 companions, the moment he is giving the discourse, and during the discourse only, that Kaundinya got enlightenment. During the discourse only, on the same night. And the Buddha says, now this Dhammachakra has been set in motion and nobody can stop it. Na devena na marena, na samanena va bhamanena kenachi lokasmi. I don't find any person in the world, entire world, in the loka, who can stop this Dhammachakra. These teachings of the Buddha now are set in the motion, and now it cannot be stopped, or it cannot be pativatya, it cannot be reverted also. So this is very, very important place. And here there is a cheti, this is the stupa has been constructed. So you have understood this stupa is the Uddesika stupa, because the very, very important occasion has occurred here. So this is the Uddesika stupa. And of course, last is the Idang Tathagato Parinibbuto. Here the Tathagata has taken the Parinibbana. So Tathagata's Mahaparinibbana is called as a Mahaparinibbana. Passing away of the any Arhat person is called Parinibbana. And when the Buddha passes away, is called the Mahaparinibbana. Here, there are 2 places here. Here he just passed away, and then here his body was cremated. So this place is just 2 kilometers away. This is called the Ramabhara Stupa. I think I suggest that everyone has to go there and meditate. And I think the entire Mahaparinibbana Sutta has to be recited here, and not only recitation, but to be understood. So many things I said, how the Buddha's body was cremated. It was not getting ignited. Why it was not getting ignited? Then how the pyre was ignited, and then how it was extinguished. Then there was a fight between the kings to get the ashes of the Buddha. Those are very beautiful things are given in the Mahaparinibbana Sutta. So one must recite here, and main thing, you must meditate here. When you meditate here, the experience is very different. So Buddha has said, so you have to get the Yathabhuta Dhyana Darsana. You have to go and take the experience. That is very, very special experience you get here. So these are all about the Chatusamejanyani Thanani, 4 places. Then let's just go through the Ashokan inscriptions. We'll go very fast. I've told you earlier the how grateful these peoples were, British peoples. They have protected our monuments or all Buddhist sites. This rock cut slabs, pillars, and excavated walls. You find the Ashokan inscriptions. Then in the pillars, what we find? The pillars are made of the Varanasi stone that is called the Chunar. Chunar name is the name of the village from where these stones are taken away, and then those were polished by the Mauryan polish. And all the pillars are the monolithic stone. That is a single piece. That is the beauty of the Ashokan pillars. We'll not discuss about much detail about the Ashokan pillars because it's an entire altogether. It's a different subject. So this is when we talk when you talk about the Chatusamejanyani Thanani. So Chetya Charikang Ahinanta Pasanna Chitta. When we walk on the 4 places of the veneration, we are supposed to do certain things. What happens, we go there, most of our colleagues, most of our faithful peoples, we have a lot of respect about the Buddha's teachings, Buddha's places, but most of the times they don't know how to venerate the Buddha, how to take a parikrama, or how to go place to place and what to do there. So these are the guidelines, some of the guidelines I would like to share with you. Just like while going to these 4 places of veneration, you must have the list of episodes and discourses. That is the sutta. So sutta indicates every sutta starts with some place, right? Ekang samayang bhagava savitya viharati anatapindakasa aram. For example, so here we see that the sutta is given in the Anathapindakasa monastery, right? Jethavan monastery. Like that, if you make the list of the suttas, and when you go there, so you can recite that sutta there on that particular place. Some suttas are given at the Varanasi, some suttas are given in the different places, right? So accordingly, if you prepare the list of the sutta and their meaning, so it will be a beautiful veneration to the Buddha. Then you should have a Dhammalipi chart. You can read out all the inscriptions. At least some inscriptions you can read out. So the charts are available very much with Pali students, as well as you can get on internet also. So if you have that, so you can read the inscriptions also. You distribute the responsibility of, suppose there are 10 people going for the Dhammayatra or venerations. So you give you distribute the suttas and tell them, okay, you explain this sutta and what is the significance of sutta, what are the teachings of the Buddha, and have a discussion sessions there. Then visit museums. Most of the people don't visit, no, but museum is such a place that museum, every sculpture takes you to that age. You go directly to the age of 2000 years back. So museum visiting is the must, is a compulsory part of the veneration. Then you should have uposatha, or you should have a limited food. Why limited food? Because we are going at a very very different place, very inconvenient place. So most of the times we feel very much unpleasant way, or we get irritated what not getting the food. But just we have to ignore that, because we came for a very, very special purpose. So have a uposat is a very good thing. If not, then just ignore it. Then you have to meditate at according to the place and according to the significance of the stupa. Okay. So generally we meditate for anapansati. If you are knowing the vipassana, we can meditate vipassana. Have the photographs of the places and write a report. So you know what is the importance of the writing report when you go through the life of the Huen Sang Bante. So those are important. And these reports are not, it should not be like a researcher or like that, but whatever you experience there, what you have seen there, how you observed it, the things. So that is good enough for your future. When you again refer it, you get that joy of reading those report and venerating the 4 places. You get the joy. So this is all about the Chatussamejaniya Thamani. So now see, we have come to the final stage, that is the gratitude part. So we have seen this mound. So this is the mound observed by the Alexander Cunningham. So this was in the middle of the 19th century, that is 1840, 1850 around. And he was not knowing what it is. It was not his business what to do with this. But see their greatness now. They have made the research on that. They found all the inscriptions here by James Princeps. They have read it and they have reconstructed this stupa. And the entire history they have mentioned properly. Now the stupa is like this because of this person, because of this Alexander Cunningham. This Alexander Cunningham was very, very expert in reading the Huen Sang diary. Then you will say, why? What is the expertness in that? The Huen Sang diary was written in the 7th century. That is, okay, 7th century, right? 640, about 640, right? And the Huen Sang stayed in India for 17 years. And he has written entire his journey, the locations, the details of the structures, and that was in a Chinese language. And the Chinese language, he has measured the distances by his foot or the measurement of li, because he was a monk. No, he was not the scholar, or he came from China unofficially because he was not permitted to go outside the country. But as a faith, he was a monk, and he was to venerate the Buddha and is the Buddhist places. So he came to India, and he has made the proper documentation. And because of that only, we are able to see all these places today. Whatever we are seeing, the birthplace of the Buddha and the enlightenment place of the Buddha. And so this Savatthi was not there. It was totally a flat surface having the trees and the mountains and jungle and forest. This person, Alexander Cunningham, has gone through the diary. He was architect, right? So he has studied it. It was in a different language. Then it was translated in Sanskrit, and then it was translated in the English language. Okay. So by translation again and again, and seeing the diary written 1,500 years before, and by that time, see how much changes in the what you call environment and reverse directions and mountains, and that deterioration of mountains, and how he must have located those places. This was a great job. Just hats off this person. And then once he found one place, he started finding again and again most of the places which are now the World Heritage, like Sanchi Stupa and all that. The credit goes to Sir Alexander Cunningham. Then he found that these things are being stolen. He has been destroyed. So he immediately informed to the government, British government, and he found here the Archaeological Survey of India. So he is called the father of ASI, Archaeological Survey father. Okay. So such a great person. Unfortunately, Nobody celebrates his birth anniversary. Not even Archaeological Survey of India, they don't publish or they don't appreciate. I don't know why. Maybe because of they are only protected and discovered this all Buddhist sites. That is a different part, but it's a great person. So these are the work, and of course, if this person, Bhante Yuansang, would not have been there, we would not find anything as a evidence. And the Buddha was, till in the middle of the 19th century, Buddha was the mythological figure, as Buddhism was completely lost. And because of Alexander Cunningham excavations on the basis of diary of Yuansang, the entire thing, the Buddha was treated, proved as a human being because of these persons only. Now, this one more personality, that is James Prinsep. He was actually the numismatics and metallurgic expert, right? So he used to work in the mint, coins making factory, right? And he was expert in metallurgy. And during his services, he found that there are so many languages, so many inscriptions written here and there in the rocks, in the coins also, ancient coin he used to study, and he found that this is something very, very interesting. So he spent his 8 years. He must be around 20 years. My time is up. Okay, is it? Should I conclude?
So you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So what this person was just 20 years old, 20 or 22 years old, and he was mad with these inscriptions. So for 8 years, he used to continuously go all the archaeological sites, and he used to sit there. He used to compare the coins with the letters written in the inscribed in the rocks, and finally, after the total 8 years efforts, he could find out this is the Brahmi inscription, and the first letter was that first letter used to be the Brahmi, that Devanand Piyadasi Laja. So this Devanand Piyadasi Laja, and then what is written in, he has come here, then he has donated this and that. So he has started publishing his papers in the Journal of Asiatic Society of Bengal. See, he has made the publication. He was secretary of he was secretary of Asiatic Society of Bengal, and through that society, his articles were going all over the world in the Buddhist countries, and he was asking to all the people, who is this Devanand Piyadasi Laja? And nobody was saying. And in India, he used to ask the Indian scholars, so-called Indian scholars, you understand what I mean. So they used to say there is no such king. There is no such king was there in Indian history. So everything was blank. So at the same time, this person, the other person, this was, you identified it, right? Is T.W. Rhys Davids. He was working in Sri Lanka, right? And one more person, I forgot his name. So Rhys Davids was the civil servant there. And being a civil servant, he used to resolve the problems of the Sri Lanka. And one Anuradhapura inscriptions, he used to handle the dispute, and there were religious disputes there, and he has handled it. And to handle those problems, he understood Pali, right? He learned Pali, he learned Sinhalese, and he came to know this Devanand Piyadasi Laja is nothing but the King Ashoka, because he has gone through the Mahavamsa literature, which is available in the Sri Lanka. Okay, see the efforts. These people are not Christians. These are Britishers, and how much they were affected. They were affectionate with the Buddha's culture, Buddhism, Buddhist culture, right, and architecture. So they were so much were attracted toward the research, and he has left the job from the Sri Lanka. Okay, there was some dispute with the Sri Lankan government, and he left it and he came to India, and he has given the this Pali dictionary to us. So whatever scholars we are studying today, so we cannot go ahead without his dictionary. So I am expressing thanks to him only. So he is the founder of Pali Text Society. So that time there were so many languages in India. He has not found any text society except Pali society. The Pali language was the supporter of revealing the entire history of the Buddhism. And he used to tell us, he don't believe in the history explained by the Indians. In his book, Buddhist India, he writes, don't believe the available text in India. And he proved that, hey, this history you are telling about the mythological characters of the Buddha, he was not a mythological person, he was a human being. He is the one of the person. So again, I'm thankful to this person. So finally, these are the main personalities I wanted to highlight here. There are so other personalities also in South India. Other persons are also there who have excavated the Buddhist sites and brought to our notice. But and I'm thankful to them also, but I could not write their names because of the time constraint. So this is what I wanted to tell about the Buddhist art and architecture. So the entire discussion is revolving around this gatha, that is Vandami Chetiyang Sabbang, Sabbatane Supatititang, Saririk Dhatu Mahabodhi, Buddha Rupang Sakalang Sada. When we recite these words in a prayer, right? When we venerate the Buddha, you say, na? So Vandami Chetiyang Sabbang, whatever Chetiya, we have just gone through the Chetiya. I am venerating all the Chetiyas. Sabbathane Supatititang, all the places where the Buddha's teachings are well established, there also, for them also, I am venerating. Saririk Dhatu, those relics of the Buddha, I am venerating the relics of the Buddha also. Then I am venerating the Bodhi tree also, Mahabodhi. These are all the Buddha Rupang Sakalang Sada. Forever, Sakalang Sada. Entire these things I am venerating, Vandami. So this is how the total Buddhist art and architecture we have studied, which gives the veneration to, which reflects the veneration to this verse. So thank you so much. This subject is very, very vast. So I tried to compile in a short time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Siddharth sir. That was a very informative session.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you
Does
have
anyone have any questions?
Jai Bhim.
Jai
You
Bhim.
can unmute yourself and ask the questions.
Yeah, so yes, I would like to thank you. It was very, very informative session, and it is like eye-opening kind of thing. I got swayed away with whatever information was shared with us, and it is like absolutely eye-opening kind of information. So one question I would like to ask is that,
Sure.
So we saw like these are our historical sites. I'm sure Maharashtra government must be doing something, and Archaeological Survey of India must be doing something about it. But how much efforts they are taking, and is it with the goodwill they are taking the efforts to reconstruct the sites or preserve the sites, or are there any constraints, or are there any opposition, or are there any kind of some kind of disputes or internal disputes to preserve the sites along those lines? I mean, I want to see. I basically want to know what are the efforts that Government of India is taking to preserve these sites.
So I'm not authorized to answer this because you know everything. you know everything about this. There is total negligence of the preservation of sites. If you go to North India, now you go around the Nalanda area, you go around the Kusinara area, you will find lot of monuments, lot of mounds. No, those are needed to be excavated. The Alexander Cunningham has mentioned so many lineages, so many sites in report. No, unfortunately, he could not do anything, but he has mentioned it, and nobody is interested to excavate it. Number one. Number two, whatever sites are excavated, they are not willing to reveal it or work on it. Very near to Nagpur, Pavni Stupa is there. Just give example I'm giving you. So you will get your answer. Pavni Stupa is a huge historical stupa. If you see the parts, those inscription stones are still lying there. And the donor's name, I already said it, the names of the donors are already written there. Okay. And it is proved that this is the Ashokan inscriptions. Still, there is a temple above that. And the temple is not, they are not removing the temple. This is Jagannath Mandir. And there is a big fight in the court. And court say, okay, chalne do. It's like that. So what to say about it? It's a very not good to say.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought so, because I don't see any effort. It could be on the paper, but not like in reality, something else is happening. So I mean, it's very unfortunate for us to have those evidences and know everything about them, but we can't do anything about it because of our limited resources and limited power that we have.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Even the available resources which are found in excavation of Ayodhya, that is, it was a Saket, and so many good with the inscriptions and columns and structures having the very beautiful art and architecture, those are destroyed. And the complaints were made to the Archaeological Survey of India, but those complaints are just kept aside. And you know what has happened there recently. But I would like to add some here. Although, okay, the condition is very bad, okay, but still, let us go there. We must go there and venerate, because that is our site. We should not wait there. They will reconstruct the stupa and they will go. Then we will go. Or see, suppose that Bhandara Leni is there. That is captured by the Tukaram followers, right? Tukaram Maharaj followers. The entire one of the Vihara has been locked by them, and they are keeping all domestic material there. But when they will vacate, we don't know, right? But till that time, we must go there. We must venerate the Buddha. We must venerate the stupa there.
Okay, I have one.
Yeah.
Namobuddhaya Jai Bhim.
Jai Bhim.
Sir, it is enlightening, no doubt. It's
Yeah.
enlightening. More and more we study history, whether it's history of science, whether it's history of architecture, we find Buddha's presence. And the beautiful thing I'm taking home from your presentation is Western scholars are becoming so bold and candid in saying that don't believe any other things because they are infodemic, that is misinformation and disinformation about Buddha. That is one beautiful take home I'm taking from your presentation. Yeah. And with regard to the previous learned speaker, a listener, she raised with the issue, but I don't agree with it. What I want to say, you have been telling in all the slides, we must own these, artifacts so that we visit, we look into them. And unless we make the community enable to take care of itself for the Buddhist tradition and heritage, why do you expect government? And see, government, as Jefferson rightly pointed out, that government is a necessary evil. You choose how much you want. And people who want to make their end, aims and objectives, they do it. But what is happening to our community? We spend so much of money on constructing some other things, you see, not search what are all the Buddhist artifacts. And that's one pathetic situation, you see. You spend money, as we know, for our own good understanding and reasoning. So what I want to conclude by saying that unless this enlightenment presentations on architecture of Buddhism or Buddhism as a philosophy reaches the youngest of the young, in a very early age. That way, Anna is doing wonderful work, igniting the minds with Buddha and Ambedkar. When we breathe Buddha and Ambedkar, the solution has started. Then it will really make, unless you have power, you cannot have respect. How is the power possible? I remember one minister in Karnataka, Basavalingappaji, who started People's Science Society with Dr. Ambedkar. He said simply, if you accept a middleman for your salvation, you are lost. If that is kindled in younger generation, then your such presentations become missiles, become non-violent missiles to destroy the mindlessness and go towards mindfulness. That's what Arahant always was struggling and gave us a way out. I want to thank you, sir. I'm sorry for taking so much of your time.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Your presentations should be made a part of the curriculum, at least in our children and in wherever we have the domain. I think once the threshold point is reached, no government can stop. No infodemic. Infodemic is defined as misinformation, disinformation. I'm a WHO infodemic manager now. And I simply move to the advertisements. That's the weapon I have.
Yeah.
Such things, if children start doing, all the misinformation and disinformation about Buddha. I went with my children in one Belur, historical place. They say Buddha is the avatar of Vishnu. You see, one day they will make Jai Bhim also an avatar of Vishnu. How to come out of this unless we impregnate mindfulness among the younger generation, and especially the tiny minds who are badly in it.
Yeah.
I want to thank Anna for a wonderful opportunity. And since it is in the YouTube, the best of the technology, as a space scientist, I can tell you, the recordings of these will go a long way. Only thing is you should do a priority on that. Thank you very much. Maybe.
Thank you. One point I wanted to add on this, sir, Jagannath sir, our responsibility is to learn Pali and also inscriptions. Why I'm telling, I will give you the example of South India. Just I visited the Bhattiprolu stupa, Bhattiprolu in South India, right, near Guntur, right? So there we found the inscriptions, and on that reading the inscriptions by other people, you say any XYZ person, they have read that the script was the Kubera ko Raja, along with his daughter and son and wife, donated this particular relics along with the jewelry, because the relics has to be kept with the jewelry, right? The gems and jewelry. And that was written, right? So this person was declaring in a what you called Google, now this stupa has been created by the Kuber. That is the mythological figure, because Kuber is a precious, having a lot of property and this, so therefore these precious stones are here. So see the contradiction. If I know the inscription, how to read it, and know the Pali also, then only I tell him that this is the correct explanation, or this is the correct statement. So many inscriptions are read wrongly.
No, I fully agree with you, sir. That's why I'm making my Herculean hopelessly hopeful effort of learning Pali through Marathi, thanks to Anna and family.
Great.
See, what I want to add, just as Kubera you mentioned, Kubera in mythological form is the person who gives loan to Venkateshwara, Lord Venkateshwara.
Yeah.
And with a small infodemic, that when Kubera asks Lord Venkateshwara, how are you going to give back the money and why do you require money? Venkateshwara, it seems he said, I want money for marrying Mahalakshmi. Mahalakshmi is the god of wealth. He says, why are you wanting loan to marry her? then how are you going to repay back? Then it seems Lord Venkateshwara told Kubera, don't worry Kubera, in Kali Yuga, my followers will pay back you the loan. So that's why even today, when somebody from the villages go to Tirupati, they give me, take this 10 rupees and put to Lord Venkateshwara's fund because it has to go to Kubera. This is how the misinformation and disinformation is going on in Indian mythology. Unfortunately, they want to tag on Buddha also to this. This is the greatest, living threat that you can anticipate. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jagannath
Any
ji.
question?
I see Vaishali Tai has a question. Vaishali Tai.
Vivek has raised the hand.
Hello. Labhane, many sadhuvat for this wonderful presentation and gratitude. Please give one example of Uddesika Stupa.
Uddesika Stupa. Okay. Best example is the stupa, which is at Diksha Bhumi. That's a recent example. The Uddesika is the commemorative stupa. Is that the particular episode, very big, important episode has taken place. That is the giving the Dhamma Diksha. The ancient example will give, that's a Sarnath stupa, where the first Dhammachakra Pavattan has been done there. That is Sarnath stupa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Vivek sir, you had a question.
Yes. So thank you very much for such a wonderful presentation and the information you put forward and the differences that you explained about the caves and the Lenis. I did not realize it until you bring it to this forum. So I just recently concluded the visit to India, and I visited many Lenis from Kaniri caves to Gandharpal in Mahad to Ajanta and Verud. And I have seen such tragic incidences where the destruction of these Lenis have been done. And there's very little done by the government to maintain it. And also the other thing I noticed, the kind of information has been given to the locals. These Lenis are have been renamed as the Pandav Lenis, and they were constructed overnight for the monks. So I'm just trying to see, what way our community, as a Buddhist community can offer some form of education, to avoid any distortion of the history. So I just wanted to see your perspectives. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We have one Leni Samvardhan committee here, Leni Samvardhan Samiti. They visit the places and try to clean it and make the awareness to the people. They go by groups and do the veneration and give the lectures or give the information to those and villagers also. Recently, I have specifically myself in the Kolhapur, there was a dispute on the this Pohai Leni. Pohai is the name of the village, and it was that stupa also venerated that worship like a Shivlinga. And I presented the research paper on that in a Prachya Vidya Parishad, Pune, in their presence with the evidences, and nobody could cross my research paper. You know what? They were all a particular community people, I will say. Not a name. I will not take the name. So we are supposed to try at the level best. And they have stopped worshipping this Shivlinga, that stupa.
And the other thing I have noticed, particularly in the Gandharpal, where at Mahad, there was so much damage, the
severe damage.
Yeah, severe damage. The railings are broken, it's very dangerous
very unsafe.
Climb, to the upper part of this mountain, and visit and worship the Lenis, that's pretty dangerous. And also there's a lot of littering, no cleanliness. The Lenis, the Chaityas, at the entrance, there are a lot of mess around, the locals or even the summit is not maintaining it. So
yeah,
it's pretty sad. Yeah.
very true.
Yeah, but it's beautiful to visit. I would recommend,
Yeah.
all the community members to visit and really experience the experiences, when you, the way they have constructed, during the ancient time, and that's really mesmerizing. Yeah.
Dr. Sheetal, please.
So much gratitude for you, sir, for coming on this online forum, and what excellent presentation. Sorry for the limited time you got today, but sir, I would definitely want to invite you again for a session dedicated on this art and architecture, and we can go through Ashokan architecture as well. My question is, sir, you mentioned if you can go back on that slides on the Ramabhar Stupa, and you said, you mentioned there that this is the place of cremation. So is this the same as Mukutbandhan Chaitya, right?
Yeah. I'm very sorry. That name is by mistake I have taken Ramabhar. It's a Mukutbandhan Stupa.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
And so now.
Thank you for correction.
Oh, no, sir. I was just like confused, right? So thanks for that, sir. And so the correct Chaitya is you said like it's 2 kilometers away from the place we visit now, where is the Parinibban that's stupa there. So it's 2 kilometers away from there. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate your talk, and it was excellent presentation.
I'm not good in English, so I could not make it fluent.
No, sir, it was very well presented. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Tom Shinde has raised his hand.
Yes. Hello, sir. Good evening, sir. Yeah. Okay. So my question will be, since the conditions of various stupas, that is various archaeological sites, in particular Buddhist one, gets talked about, is the professionalism and the ethic of Archaeological Survey of India questionable or of dubious value?
Yes, of course. Say again, government policy. Yeah, I understood. But whatever you complain to them, and they acknowledge you, but they will not take action on that. They are definitely answerable for that, but the condition is not favorable to us. Us means the Buddhist sites.
No, the question essentially is, I would like you to articulate in context of their professionalism and ethic. It is questionable or even dubious. Is that your perspective and opinion? If yes, then how much?
And I can't reply that. I'm sorry for that.
Do you believe that the organizations are pretty ethical and professional, although they are not replying to you, still they can be considered as professional and ethical? Do you believe in that?
Yeah, partly. They are professional, but they have their limitations.
Okay, all right. So their hands are tied, but they are pretty professional and ethical.
That I meant to say. I could not say like that, but their hands are tied. They have very, very limited resources. They can't go beyond that.
Are their hands tied in certain ways? Are their hands tied?
I would use the word limitations. Limitations, I will use. Yeah.
Okay, all right. In comparison with other organizations globally, because these locations, so many of these locations are not just governed by Archaeological Survey of India; they are also governed by UNESCO, right? So UNESCO, when somebody kind of makes a point about an institution like Archaeological Survey of India, then they are also making a point about UNESCO, right? So when because it's like a team, right? Like UNESCO and Archaeological Survey of India must be, working in unison at these sites. So just wondering as to whether, these kind of kind of points that are, made many times that these institutions turn a blind eye. You're trying to say that they turn a blind eye towards your complaint. Is that so, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, they turn the blind eye to your complaints. Okay, but that does that necessarily imply that these organizations are unethical or unprofessional?
No, I don't say that.
Okay, great. Oh, so got the perspective basically. So what I got a clarity of thought with these questions and your replies to them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Panthak Bhalchakram.
Jai Bhim, Namo Buddhaya, sir. It was a very nice and informative session. Thank you very much. Sir, I want to ask the meaning of the Pandurang in Pali language. And you may also mention Sant Tukaram Maharaj praying on some Lenis and our Pandhirat, our Mandir in Pandharpur is also, I think it's a Buddhist Shirin. Or Buddhist. So it's a what kind of coming under the Buddhist Shirin or stup?
No, I have not studied, to be very honest. This Pandharpur Vitthal Mandir you are talking, I have not studied up to this level. I make a concrete statement on that. First thing, they have hidden the main sculptures and all that. So I cannot make the comment on that. Now, and second question was regarding Panduranga, right? So Panduranga, the name Pandu is white, Ranga is color. So white color is a Panduranga. And the second name is a lotus. Panduranga is also substitute name for lotus in Pali language.
Thank you, sir.
We have Kishore, Mr. Kishore Jadhav. Do you want to ask the question?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Excellent presentation. Jai Bhim, sir.
Jai Bhim.
Do you have any idea about Bhon in Buldana district?
Yes.
Can you please highlight something on that?
Bhon stupa is a earthen stupa. It is made for clay. It's a structural stupa, and I think it is now completely vanished. Bhon stupa is near Buldana, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, it is well registered under ASI.
Okay, sir. But I heard like government is planning to have some dam there. I don't know. Is it correct?
Dam, I don't know about the dam, but it is quite possible. I will not get surprised for that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Because that Bhon stupa is almost it is destroyed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Anybody else want to ask the questions?
Sorry, I couldn't find the raise hand button, but not the question, but I just want to make comment. The comment is because I don't want every one of us go with the notion that government should not be responsible, because Mr. Jagannath said, like, we shouldn't be making government responsible. I mean, he didn't say directly, but my point is, the government is the representation of people, right? And whatever we want, we cannot do directly. We have the representation in government. And that is my point is we should have the political resources to put our point across. And government is absolutely responsible for protecting the religion or religious belief or any practices they want to do. Like the people's practices are the government religious belief. And there, when we have the evidences, like the strong evidences, archaeological evidences, it becomes the responsibility of the government. Of course, it is the responsibility of people as well to promote and propagate our, our religion. But it also becomes the responsibility. And I don't want every one of us to go with the notion that, no, we have to do everything by ourselves. No, we have to make the government accountable as well. Because it becomes the responsibility of government to allow people to propagate their religion and protect their history and protect their archaeological sites. I mean, it's just the comment that I wanted to make to, every one of us go with, so have the power to motivate people to have political resources as well.
I fully agree with you, and no dispute on that. But can you imagine 75 years of freedom? Manwad, what Jai Bhim wanted untouchables to touch the water. Today, after 75 years, Amrut Mahotsav, a girl is beaten to almost death for touching water in a village. If it can happen in India, what sort of accountability you want to fix on government? That's the question. We have to definitely fix an accountability, but for the Supreme Court today, the vaccination wouldn't have been free. If the climate change or Buddhist architecture, it is the threshold point of younger generation and learned people like us saying no, use your mute button to finish the infodemic. The misinformation, disinformation is what I want to say. I fully agree with you. Thank you.
Okay, I think everyone is done with the questions.
Yeah.
So I would very much want to thank Labhane sir.
Speech on this. Sir, I want to tell you, sir, that I agreed with that Archaeological Survey of India. However, but they are not giving any response to anyone, and our sculptures are lying everywhere without protection.
Yeah.
Such as a pony, that you have given one example, that a pony, that all our sculptures, they are lying, and local people, they are sitting on there and misusing also like this action. Yeah, it is going on. But nobody is properly taking care, and Archaeological Survey of India really that not doing anything for that purpose. Only is the very good place for this purpose. And another thing that is Sravasti also nearby Jetwan, that another ashram is there. There is also one Asokan pillar is there. It was broken and it was converted into Shivling. That villagers are going and performing puja, but Archaeological Survey of doing nothing. Simply they put their board, okay, this is Ashokan pillar.
Yeah.
Something is required to be make complaint to the Archaeological Survey of India.
Yeah,
the
complaints
position,
are made.
But nothing is happening.
Nothing. Yeah.
People, local people, they are openly coming and saying that this is Hinduism only. Shivling, they have converted like this only. And that place is also not protected properly. Archaeological Survey of India is already fully aware. But they are not doing anything. Also something is happening.
So, Mr. Bhimraj very much a reasonable point over there. When he says that, that there was this structure which got broken and then it was converted into, kind of shifting and all. And that's a very reasonable point, I mean. But, like any event that occurs, now, every event that, that occurs, any kind of inadvertent event, it has either, like in healthcare, if somebody gets a disease, we call it as, either it has a host factor or agent factor or environmental factor. Now, like, this particular pillar broke down because of environmental factor. And then because of the location, you can't really stop people. And then, they just came and, and anyway, the
pillar has broken down. So people started, people went on to make it kind of Shivlinga, which is in our perspective absolutely unacceptable. But then, it was probably a helpless situation. So where is the, how do we find the kind of balanced approach in, or a reasonable approach in kind of putting blame absolutely towards the archaeological survey of India? And, is there is it like all or nothing principle with which we evaluate an organization like Archaeological Survey of India? If good things are happening, then it's fine. But anything that goes wrong, regardless of whether it is in the realm of control of Archaeological Survey of India, we ought to, or we are pretty reasonable to blame Archaeological Survey of India. What is your perspective on that?
We can keep on pursuing, and we are supposed to file the cases in the court. For example, some places like Pavani Stupa, so we people went to the court, and still there we are fighting, although we are given so many evidences. And second,
sir, you get evidence, sir, there on the spot.
Yeah, with the evidence, still the cases are not moving further because of political pressure, and they make it as a sensitive issue. That is, त्यांच्या भावना दुखावतात वगैरे. But in one case, I'm telling some positive example. Kaneri Leni in the Borivali, Mumbai, right? So there every year Mahashivratri, at the time of Mahashivratri, the people used to worship those stupa as a Shivlinga, and thousands of people used to go there as a jatra. But our people came together along with some our Bhanteji monks, and we used to request them, see, this is not the Shivlinga, this is the stupa, and we have displayed the board, we have highlighted the boards, this is the history of the Leni, and this is the history of the stupa. So people started fighting with us, but slowly, with the pursuit of local police station and with the communication with the Archaeological Survey of India, 1 year, 2 years, the people, the worshipping people started coming lower and lower, and finally now nobody comes there. Before one day of the Mahashivratri, about 1,000 people go there and have a get-together, sort of what you call the discussion or puja, veneration sort of thing.
Sir, at Kaneri, mostly our people, every Purnima day, they are gathered and taking the Buddha puja and some speeches or some small functions are conducted every Purnima.
Yeah.
And day by day.
So that is the good sign, actually.
Yes. But at some places, very, very bad position. That I have not seen that at Andheri, some Leni is there. But that is also captured by Hindi.
Yeah. Now those are engulfed, totally engulfed, lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think okay. I think that was a very interesting discussion among the team. And as Sheetal said, that we can again have Mr. Labhane sir, and we can again have a discussion on the Maurya structures. So we can again continue the question answer session. Yeah. And I wanted to thank you, Labhane sir, for your profound wisdom and delivering such an informative talk on the Buddhist arts and architecture. Your expertise in the topic was truly inspiring. We sincerely appreciate your contribution to today's Vihara session. Thank you once again.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, sir.
Namo Buddhaya.
And wishes of Jyeshta Purnima. Today is a Jyeshta Purnima. Good wishes to all. Thank you. Thank you for giving opportunity to me on this platform. Anna is doing well, going well. All the best. Thank you.
Thanks to Anna and Siddharth. Thank you.
Thank